Well, in this video, we're going to frame our tall wall between the living room and the kitchen. We left it unframed so far because we didn't know how tall it needed to be. But now we've brought a truss, an S1A truss, in from the 3D warehouse, and we've set it in place. And where I've set it is right parallel with the inside of this wall, okay? So that we can use it as a template to show us exactly how tall this tall wall needs to be. Now, when setting your trusses, the trusses were designed at the full span of the house from the outside of the sheathing. So make sure that when you set the trusses on the wall, that see how this truss is sitting right on the wall? It actually needs to be set a ½ inch over the wall. So select the truss, hit the move command, move it in the green axis in this case, 0.5, and that puts it a ½ inch over the wall on this side. And when you look at the other side, you'll see that it is, well, you won't be able to see because it's not on the wall, but it's a ½ inch over that wall also. That's just the way the trusses were designed. Now this truss is going to actually be supported by the girder that we're going to put in. So, but for now, we're just using it to measure our studs so we know how tall it needs to be. Now we need to have a stud here at this point. So I'm just going to select a stud that is the same direction as the studs that we need. And I'll put it into place right up against the wall. And I'll move it, selecting the corner, snapping it to that corner. And then we have our stud in place. Now what we need to do is we need to pull that stud up so it's at the bottom of that truss so we know exactly how tall the wall needs to be. So I'll double click on that truss, use my push-pull tool, and I'll pull the top of that stud up to the point where it intersects that truss. Okay, right there. Now we've got the stud right at the intersection of the bottom chord of that truss, which is where we want the plate to be. So I'm now going to put the put the plate in where it belongs. The plate's on the bottom. I've got the long plate here, and then I've got the short plate over here. So I'm going to take the short one and put it on the left side here. And how I'm going to do this, because the stud is where the top needs to be, I'm going to select the top corner of the plate and put it right there. Then I can double click this stud and push it down to where it's the right height. Now it goes to the bottom of the plate. That looks really good. The longer plate now, I can select and copy it and paste it up onto the other plate. And I'll just connect those two together. Okay, now the plates are in place. Now I just need to move the studs. And so I come into where the stud is, select on the stud. I'm going to do an array. So I'm going to move it and I'm going to copy it. And I move it in the red axis, 1, 6, enter. And then I'll do times, I think 16 is the right number. So I'll go 16 studs. And let's take a look and see how we did over here in the end. Yep, we did just fine. We have 16 studs. We do need to move this one. So we select the outside corner and snap it to the outside of that plate. And now we have our studs in place. And they're the correct height where the truss is. All we have to do now is to make sure that the splices for our caps or for our plates end at the studs. So we're going to adjust those, make sure they're sitting correctly, and then put our doorway in, and that wall will be finished.